What's up, everybody? Aaron Negler here with your Packers Daily Chat, coming to you live on Cheesehead TV, devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide, coming to you on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. We want to be where you are. What's up, everybody? Practice number 7 for the Green Bay Packers in 2019 training camp. Let me tell you, it was a dialed-back affair. Matt LaFleur taking the guys out of pads, helmets and shorts only. It was pretty much a glorified OTA walkthrough. Lots of half-tempo stuff, including a 2-minute drill that was hardly competitive. Clearly a lot of fundamental work, a lot of drill work. Any of the team stuff that they did was, again, not competitive, not any kind of hitting, obviously, because there were no pads. So very scaled back with the idea that they're going to hit the ground running tomorrow night in that building right there for family night tomorrow evening. So not a lot to go on off of this practice. Spoke with Aaron Rodgers in the locker room afterwards. He had some fun things to say, including one of my favorite stories of camp, that the rookies were tested on by just using headshots. The rookies were tested to see if they knew the coaches on the coaching staff. And they got less than 50% right. The guys on their own side of the ball, the offensive players couldn't name half of the coaches on the offensive coaching staff. And he blamed it on young millennials, which I find hilarious. As Rodgers is a young whippersnapper himself still in the grand scheme of things. Hello to everybody in this live chat. Good to see you all. Austria checking in. What's up? Thank you so much for checking out Cheesehead TV. I was at Bears training camp on Monday and watched Trubisky. I'm sorry that you had to go through that. When is the scrimmage? Did I miss it? No, there is no scrimmage, actually. They used to do a scrimmage on family night when they had the big public practice, but they did away with that a number of years ago. Tomorrow will not be a scrimmage. It will be a practice with some competitive periods. Matt LaFleur saying that they'll be doing 2-minute drill, they'll be doing move the ball, they'll be doing down and distance stuff. So there will be 11-on-11 scrimmage-like stuff, but as far as one big scrimmage, that won't happen. If you're talking about the Texans coming to town, that happens next week. They'll be practicing with the Texans both Monday and Tuesday, off on Wednesday, and then the first preseason game is a week from tonight. Anything notable from Kingsley? Keke, I tell you what, I love this kid. He's looked great in one-on-ones. I haven't seen him much from scrimmage because you're usually watching the ones against the ones, and he's been working primarily with the twos. But every time I see him, you get excited. You can see why they like this kid. His athleticism, his strength, his power, his quickness. He looks to be as advertised so far, but with the caveat that it is still very early. Oh, hello, Olive. My youngest is watching. Hi, Olive. Back in New York. Good to see you, baby. Thanks for saying hi. Nagler, do all the continuous short practices concern you at all? No, Jeremy. It's interesting to me that, LaFleur talks a lot about all the meetings and classroom work that they're doing. And then, remember, we don't see this. I actually took a peek 2 nights ago, but they do a walkthrough at the end of the day out in front of the Don Hudson Center. It's walled off, so to speak, so we can't see it. But there's a bench that you can stand on across the street that you can peek in over the top, which is what I did. They're just, it's kind of a half jog walkthrough. So they're still doing stuff on the field. But, as far as the curtailed practice time, I'm all in on work smarter, not longer. They're trying to get as much done classroom-wise and then get as much done as they need to on the field. I mean, and we'll see, right? It's LaFleur's first time ever being in charge of a camp. Maybe he'll adjust as he goes along. Maybe practices become a little bit longer. But we are coming off his longest practice yesterday. Certainly dialed it back today. And we'll see how hard they go tomorrow night. When am I going back to New York? I'll be back August 9th, the day after the Texans preseason game. Sorry I'm late. What did I miss? Joshua, absolutely nothing. Just me rambling. MVS or EQ? It always seems to be a question. I love them both. I think EQ's actually been more consistent so far in camp. but you've seen MVS's big play ability. I think they're both going to get a number of looks, a whole lot of work. Ultimately, I still think MVS is probably going to be the one who gets on the field a little bit more, but I wouldn't sleep on EQ in any way, shape, or form. Brian, holy cow. Thank you so much. Super chat. Thank you, Brian. That's really, really kind of you. I really can't. Brian Carver. That's it, and that's not just a Wisconsin beer. That's a New York beer right there. Thank you so much. Very nice of you. Oh, Olive, I wish I could, baby. Do you like Matt's no contact rule? No, but I ain't in charge, and he is. I mean, I get what he's doing. He wants, thud only, doesn't want hitting, definitely doesn't want tackling, doesn't want to bring people to the ground. And I get that that's where the league is going practice-wise in camp. There are precious few teams now that have live hitting, any semblance of live hitting. I'm old school. I want them to hit, but with contracts the way they are now, salary cap's such a concern for every team. You run the risk of, knocking yourself out of things before things even start. So I get it. I get the concern, but yeah, no, I'm not a big fan. Corey's got jokes. Any idea if LaFleur runs his camp similar to a Shanahan camp? In some ways, he did say he's taking things from his time with Kyle, his time with Sean, and then last year with Vrabel. So it's a mix, I think, of all of them. Coach being too soft. I mean, we can't say with any kind of definity. Let's see how the season plays out and how this team kind of develops throughout the year. I mean, maybe it's the way to go. Maybe, because of how kind of not pedal to the metal, so to speak, no big hitting, etc. Maybe that pays dividends down the line. Maybe come November, December, they're still fresh, and they're still able to run all over people. We don't know. We'll see how it plays out. Let's see. I'm afraid I know the answer, but I'm guessing no family night online this year. Matt, it doesn't sound like it. The Packers own the digital rights. They did not allow TMJ or NBC to stream it last year. I have heard absolutely nothing. That's going to be different this year. However, Corey and I were talking before I came live here, and we're thinking we might do a watch party. Since the Packers don't want to stream it, maybe we'll do a watch party of Corey and I watching Family Night, and we'll just talk about it, since no one online will be able to see it. I don't know. We'll see. Aaron Rodgers, top 10 player in the NFL still. Anton, absolutely, according to his peers. The NFL Network revealing their top 10 last night. I believe Rodgers came at number 8. And I say, who cares? I mean, it's great. It's wonderful. Yes, he's still a very good player. But we all knew that already. The NFL Network likes to get things pumped up for no good reason. Dad Willa joined. Well, hello, Willa. Very nice to see you. I love this team. More excited for the season than I have been for a while. We're finally not the target of the NFC North, and yet the roster is better than it's been for a long time. Thomas, I absolutely know what you're talking about there, especially on the defensive side of the ball with just the sheer amount of talent that they've brought in. They could be and should be much, much better. Obviously, the big questions are on the offensive side of the ball, especially wide receiver, where the production comes from. Can the running game hold up? Can Aaron Jones hold up, etc.? But with all that said, the pressure is off, right? I mean, I get what you're talking about. For so long, it was the Packers were the target. They were the hunted. Now they are the hunters, and I kind of like it. I kind of like flying below the radar. Bears fans all up in your mentions because they won something finally, I guess, if you are into hanging division banners. But, come September 5th and beyond, we'll see what's what. Who has improved more since last year, the D-line or the secondary? Whew, that's a good question. First blush, I'd say the secondary. And obviously part of that was due to injuries, and you can't discount what has been added along the defensive line, but you subtract Mike Daniels from the equation, it's hard to say that they're going to be able to keep up talent-wise with what the secondary improvements we've seen so far. I will say, and this is before Josh Jackson has even gotten on the field, he was yet again a non-participant today. But, man, I tell you, Jair, Kevin King, Tremont, Tony Brown, these guys have come to play. And, they throw in the additions at safety, and look out. How about them Cowboys? Are they going to pay you that running back? I love Jerry Jones saying, "Oh, you don't need a champ, league-leading rusher to win a Super Bowl." Although all 3 Super Bowls he's ever won, he had the league-leading rusher. Keep it up, Jerry. Aaron, if Olive is looking for Packers tickets, where should she go? Should she ask Kevin King? No, Tyler. She should go to cheeseheadtv.com and find the link to Ticket King. They've been around since 1992. They're located here physically right across from Lambeau Field. But if you're not in Green Bay, just go to cheeseheadtv.com and visit Ticket King. Whether it's a preseason game, starts next week, postseason game, if they're lucky enough to get there, or any game here at Lambeau in the regular season, or any away game. Just go to Ticket King, find your tickets. They'll take care of you. And now, for a very limited time, if you use code PACK, that's capital P, PACK 2019, you can get 10% off your order. But it's very limited time, so act fast. Ticket King. Check them out at Cheesehead TV. Is Bob Tonyan tight end number 2? Duke, they would never say with any kind of definity, but I would say yes at this point. He's certainly been mixed in enough to make you think so. Now, I think the big question becomes how much of that is because they want to see what he can do, and how much of that is because they actually think he's better than a better option than Mercedes Lewis. There's no doubt that Mercedes is in there for the run game and Tonyan is in there for the pass game. Obviously, you can't keep that up because defensive coordinators will adjust and take things away. But right now, just from sheer number of reps with the ones, I would probably go Tonyan at tight end number 2. Aaron Rodgers was snubbed in the spelling bee coin toss. Too soon? If anyone doesn't know what Duke is talking about, Rodgers told a story after the regular session was over because he had mentioned there was a spelling competition. And he said it came down to Rodgers versus Mike Pettin, and they had to flip a coin to see who would go first. And Pettin won the toss and got the word right. Brian, holy cow! I consume more content from Cheesehead TV than my expensive cable subscription. So lunch is on me today. Keep up the great work. Brian Carver coming through with $40 for lunch. Are you kidding me? Corey and I can eat like kings for a week on $40 in Green Bay. Thank you so much. That is incredibly kind of you. We're here for you guys. Packers fans worldwide. Thank you, Brian. Thanks so much. And thanks for consuming the content and being part of the Cheesehead TV family. Brian now owns you, Aaron. Almost, Tyler. Almost. I think Corey Banky owns me, actually. Trade for Zeke. Okay, let's come back from La La Land. I just want Aaron to notice my question. Well, ask a question. I finally noticed you, and you didn't ask a question. Brian the GOAT. Yeah, Brian is the GOAT. You got that right. See, now I'm here, guys. Negler couldn't drink enough. It's correct. I couldn't drink enough. All right, guys. We're going to wind down here a little bit unless I get some questions. Where are we meeting for drinks tomorrow night? Nate, I have no idea, but probably be out and about somewhere around the stadium. Don't want to drink and drive. Don't want to go too far. But I'll be falling down probably somewhere in Titletown. So look for a man face planted at the bottom of the hill. Nags, do you have a DJ set in Green Bay this weekend? No. I may be DJing later at Corey's house, but that's not open to the public. Jamerson, a chance for the 53? I would say long odds. Long odds on that one. How good was Nick Barnett? Ooh, going old school here. Nick Barnett was better than most people gave him credit for. He wasn't an all-pro or anything, but he was a really good football player. And I think he kind of got the shaft sometimes from the fans. Montravius looking good. Dominic, he flashes. There's no question there's talent there. But I tweeted this out, I think 2 days ago. Obviously, a lot of headlines generated off Mike Pettin's comment that he was the most improved guy on the defensive side of the ball. And obviously, I'm not going to argue with Coach on that one. But for my liking, he is still on the ground way too much, especially in one-on-ones. You got to be able to anchor, and you got to be able to take on those guys. And just too often, he's making his rush, and he gets his feet out from under him, and he falls on. He's on the ground. Guys put him on the ground, and man, that's not what I want from my frontline defensive lineman. I want him to dominate. But all of that said, yes, he has looked vastly improved, and you saw that towards the end of the season, especially that last month. There was a reason Tyler Lancaster was running in front of him for much of last year. But he seems to have, according to Pettin, really changed around his work habits, his work ethic, and you have definitely seen the flashes early on in camp. Vitali the Muscle Man. Why is it hard for tight end rookies? Really good question. There's just such a huge adjustment, especially for guys like Jace who come out of a system where he was a glorified wide receiver, right? Obviously, he's in line a little bit, but for the most part, he split out from the formation, whether that's way out wide or in the slot, and he's running downfield, and he's got a combination of maybe 1, 2, 3 route combos at most, and most of those are single concept as far as when it comes to the actual route that he's being asked to run. Whereas you get to the NFL, not only are you asked to play in line, and you have to block big-ass defensive ends in the NFL, but then you also have to be able to work in the backfield. They utilize them, just like Mike McCarthy did. LaFleur is asking these guys to run into the backfield, play a little H-back, but then you've also got to be able to split out and do all those things at a wide receiver. And then you go from, okay, so there's all that as an adjustment, but then you also have to go, it's like going from black and white to color in regards to, rather than, okay, I got to run a post, right? Well, you've got to know what leverage that defensive back is using. And if the safety rolls over, then you've got to adjust the route, and you've got to convert that into something else. And you've got to read that in real time as your quarterback is reading it. In other words, as Aaron Rodgers is reading it. And if you don't read it the same way Aaron does, you can forget ever getting the ball thrown to you. So you throw all that into the mix, it's just such a big jump. They're asked to do so much, and probably more so than any other position as far as between college and the pros. The jump is so significant. It's very rare. And you've seen it these last few years. Think of the last few big name, quote unquote, tight ends that were taken even in the first round. Think of O.J. Howard. The buzz around that kid, and it was real, and it was legit. And he's a very talented player. He did absolutely nothing his rookie year. And he hasn't done much since. He's still developing. So it's such a hard position to really be productive in your rookie year. That's why all summer, you guys, anybody who's been watching Cheesehead TV in the offseason knows I've been saying all summer, don't expect a lot of big-time contribution from him, at least early on. Now, maybe as the season goes on, hell, maybe even as camp and preseason goes on, you start to see a little bit more development, a little more opportunity because of it. Maybe he starts making noise earlier than expected. But right now, he's exactly where he probably should be expected to be. Just need to know what this offense looks like as opposed to that stale Mike McCarthy offense. Really multiple, a lot of condensed formations, a lot more jet motion, I tell you that. They've been working on that quite a little bit. You never really know, is he going to give it? Is he going to keep it? Is he going to drop back? Definitely a lot more window dressing. George Kittle was insane. He was so-so. That is true. He's definitely the exception, though. What will be different at family night tomorrow with LaFleur? From what he said today after practice, not a whole heck of a lot. Still sounds like it'll be a practice. Maybe a few more competitive periods. Under McCarthy these last few years, they had some competitive stuff, some 2-minute stuff, but they did a lot of drill work. I don't think there'll be as much drill work tomorrow night, which obviously is good for the paying customers. With what happened to Clinton Dix, do you think it's better for the morale of this team, especially with the new head coach, to move or cut Josh Jones sooner rather than later? I don't know, Daniel. I mean, he's got potential and talent, and they certainly want to utilize it, and they have been at kind of that hybrid linebacker, nickel, safety role. And I tell you what, I know there was a lot of headlines made yesterday about the hit. I've made my feelings clear on it. I think he was retaliating / sticking up for his teammate. I have no problem with it. LaFleur benched him because he wants a zero-tolerance policy on fighting. I think that, I think he's been an asset so far in camp. He hasn't talked a lot. He hasn't been disgruntled. He's not said anything to the media and or from what I can tell in the locker room. So, you utilize that. And I will admit that I was surprised that they held on to him coming into camp because of the fact that Brian has a bunch of guys throughout his early part of his tenure, whether it was Whitehead, whether it was HaHa Clinton Dix, whether it was Demarius Randall, perceived on the outside at least, locker room issue guys. He's not been hesitant to move on from them. The fact that Josh Jones is here at the start of camp tells me that, Brian doesn't consider him a locker room issue. He wants to play. Ultimately, this comes down to Josh wanting to be on the field. And he's very frustrated that, I guess, roadblocks still keep getting put in front of him. So I get that. And I think Brian gets it too. So now I say all this and watch. It'll just be like He'll come out tomorrow and go, this is family night is stupid. And then he'll get traded. 1 week till Packer football. What's up, Michael? Thanks for the super chat. Thanks so much. 1 week. 1 week. I mean, we get family night tomorrow night, but that's not real. I mean, it's not like preseason is real. But I'll tell you what, the way LaFleur was talking yesterday, if Aaron Rodgers gets the work in that they expect him to on Monday and Tuesday against the Texans, I wouldn't expect Aaron Rodgers out on the field next Thursday night against the Texans. Nags, look back and left. I just yelled at you and want to wave. AJ, I just waved. What's up? What's up? Thanks for answering my question, Aaron. Hit those like buttons, everyone. Daniel, telling it like it is. Like, subscribe, share with your friends on Facebook. If you're on Twitter, retweet us. Do all the things, all the social things. You can find us pretty much everywhere on the internet. We want to be here for you guys. We're devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. And hey, I can't thank you guys enough for the super chats. They're amazing. Keep them coming. And if you really like what we're doing here at Cheesehead TV, please consider giving to our Patreon page. It's patreon.com/CheeseheadTV. $5 a month supports everything we do. I'll be back at some point tomorrow. Maybe Corey and I do a watch party. That'll be fun, right? Watching family night because you guys can't, because the Packers are stingy. All right, everybody. Thanks so much. See you guys tomorrow. Have a great day.